Have you ever wanted to waste a lot of money on something that's going to do absolutely nothing for you, and you've already tried the alpha male boot camps, and you want something else to burn cash on? Well, I've got some supplements for you, some health supplements. Some of these are good, some of these are well researched, some of them are not. My name's Shay, I'm a nutritionist and an international level athlete, and you know why you're here. Let's make a start. So first up is creatine. Creatine straight into D tier, like there's no research backing it. Liver damage and cancer is almost inevitable. No, I'm just kidding. I wanted to start with creatine because it's cheap, there's no drawbacks, and it's one of the most well-researched things. I mean, everyone knows about it as far as improving muscular strength and endurance, and it does that by holding more phosphocreatine stores, which is that fast-acting energy system. I actually don't take creatine in season because I like being a little bit lighter because it will cause you to hold a little bit of water, but yeah, it's up to you. Pretty well researched though. And I want to start with this second apple cider vinegar because it's the exact opposite. Like, it smells like AIDS, and for some reason people think, oh, because it smells like AIDS, it must help burn fat. There's no evidence. Okay, you're kind of just drinking the AIDS juice for no reason. So I just wanted to put S and D there just so we have something to work off. Next up is whey protein. Whey protein, pretty well researched. I've said before, don't get carried away in thinking it's like a health food, because it's not. There's not really any micronutrient potential or antioxidant potential in there, but it's not too expensive if you go for like a major brand that has economies of scale. Don't waste your money on these like fancy isolates. It's not really helping you. And don't worry about these silly little pop-up brands that are trying to upsell you something with their terrible advertising. I saw one that was like, oh, don't buy the big brands, they're bad. Buy ours, it's better. And there was no reasoning. That's literally all they said, so I don't understand. And then you get these other brands like, oh, ours has twice the amount of protein, but it's just because they set the serving size to 2 scoops instead of 1. So I think of all the things to counter the modern diet, it's omega-3 is up there, right? An issue I've spoken about before is with all the seed oils and processed foods and you know, other things they add in there, we get a lot of omega-6, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you have a lot of omega-6 and no omega-3, it can be pro-inflammatory. And where do we get omega-3? You know, flax seeds, chia seeds, salmon, and other oily fish like trout or sardines. So think of the average person's diet. It's pretty much all processed food and barely any of this stuff, so what do you know? Imbalance, and you don't get enough omega-3, pro-inflammatory for that as well. Omega-3 does help counter inflammation as well. We need it for brain health and staving off neurodegeneration later in life. So omega-3 is probably, I could make a case for the most potent nutrient, you know, out there. So I'll actually put it in S tier because usually it has vitamin D as well, which is also another very common deficiency and also one of the most potent nutrients. So omega-3 is really potent actually. I mean, you could say, oh, just eat the salmon, but it is expensive. It is expensive. I always go for chia seeds to get my omega-3 in, but man, I need to go fishing more. There's a lot of trout and salmon around me, but where I live, it's illegal to spear them with a spear gun, but I like spear fishing. You just can't do it in the rivers with the trout and salmon. To be fair, I did get chased by an eel once underwater, which has kind of put me off freshwater diving a little bit, but anyway. It was coming straight for my head, dude. Like it's just like, nah. I think the one thing holding omega-3 back is a little bit expensive. I think vitamin D is a bit cheaper and it's also very safe, and particularly for people in fitness who are like training exclusively in the gym, they're not seeing much sun. It's like you go to the office, you go to the gym, you go home, you don't see the sun. So vitamin D, if it's low, your bone health tanks, your testosterone levels tank, so and your mood tanks. Consider supplementing if you are at risk. Next up, collagen. There isn't much research for collagen. A lot of people use it as a skin supplement in a health context because this is a health tier list. We're talking more about joint health. And what's it say for joint health? Well, half of the studies say, oh, it's actually useful for supporting like cartilage regeneration. Other half of studies say it's not. So I guess it's up to you. If you're in a tight space where it's like, I really need to rehabilitate my knee, I mean, I guess you could try it, but it isn't too cheap either, collagen powder, so I'm gonna put it in the C tier. Next up is the infamous pre-worky. I got a picture of Jack 3D, the old school stuff with the 1,3-dimethylamine, which is like a cracked out amphetamine stimulant. They don't sell the original formulation anymore for legal reasons, but this one's a tricky one to place because it kind of depends what you're actually buying. Some people buy like a stem-free pump pre-workout, which can be pretty effective. Some people want like a juiced up stem pre-workout, which is also pretty effective. I'm gonna put it in B tier just because I I love pre-worky, like more than anyone on the world. I love something that sharpens you up, which is why I don't touch nicotine, because I know I would get addicted to that so quickly. Use it if you want. If you use it here and there, it can be helpful, but I wouldn't say it's really gonna improve training progress or health too much compared to some of the other things here, so I'll leave it in B tier. If you are enjoying, please be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing. It's free, helps me out, and I'd love to have you part of the gang. Next up is these green powders, and AG1's like the most, I guess, recommended or I guess sponsored one that a lot of people have. It's like, oh, buy AG1 powder. What's the deal here? I've seen a lot of videos that are like, oh, don't buy AG1, you don't know what's in there. If you see what's actually added in there, it has got some good stuff, to be fair. It'll get you a lot of your vitamins in, less so minerals, but vitamins is okay. It is expensive though, so I don't really recommend it too much. You can just eat your vegetables and that way you're getting the vitamins, but also the minerals, because I don't think AG1 has that many minerals. And again, it's expensive. You could buy the cheaper green powders because there are a whole lot of brands, but overall I'm not too convinced. I think it can be used as an insurance policy if you're maybe not too sure if you're getting all your vitamins in, you can just throw that in there. But again, I think people mistake this for being like an actual part of your diet. No, it's a supplement, okay? It says supplement, it supplements a decent diet, okay? It's not meant to be, you know, a complete crutch. And similar thing for multivitamins. I'm gonna put them a little bit, I don't know, I'll put them on tier. Because similar story, insurance policy. I recently did that Sam Sulik diet, and he's like, he just had a terrible diet, by the way. If you want to check that out, it's just there. But he's like, oh, I just feel like if I just have a multivitamin on top of this, it should get me close to what a good diet should be. It's not really how it works. The bioavailability and all these like elemental minerals, as in elemental as not food bound, is really low. So it's just not ideal, dude. I think you're just way better off getting it through your food. Again, if you have a half decent diet, you can use it as an insurance policy, but do not use it as a crutch, okay? Next up is B complex, and the thing is, it's a bit cheaper, I think, than multivitamins in AG1 or other green powders, just because it's only one thing. But the thing is, it's only B vitamins, and B vitamins are probably one of the easiest micronutrient class to get, aside from maybe B12 if you're vegan or vegetarian, but even then there's workarounds now with fortified food that just have B12 added to them. So I really don't think B is an issue. Like, if you can't get your B vitamins in, I might have other questions. I think, you know, you're probably doing something wrong. I'm just gonna leave that there. I mean, it's not too much to talk about there. Probiotics. This is an interesting one because in a lot of the cases they're useless, because if you already have a healthy gut microbiome and you're just feeding it with the fiber that you're eating, the probiotics are there to increase the amount of bacteria, like populate the gut, and gut health we need for pretty much everything, including like mental health and cognition and everything. But again, if you already have enough gut bacteria, you don't need more. It's not really going to do anything. But the thing is, if you've had like a run of antibiotics and those antibiotics just really get your gut bacteria in the guillotine there, they just choke them out, dude. There's nothing that's going to repopulate your gut better than probiotics. So for that unique case, or if you've, you know, maybe had some other issue with gut health, it does have that. So I'll put it in B tier just because, again, you usually won't need it, but in that specific case, there's nothing else that'll do it to that extent. You can also beef up your gut microbiome right before traveling to reduce illness risk, just like juice it up temporarily and then it'll get back to baseline later. But next up is vitamin C, and I think vitamin C, it has some good utility as well. I think, you know, most people probably don't eat enough fruit. Most of the studies will prove that. I guess the population study saying, oh, how many fruits are you eating? Not enough, dude. Okay, and vitamin C is pretty exclusive to fruit. It's in a few other things, but not in that high of amounts. And what do we need vitamin C for? Your skin, of course, also your ligaments and tendons and stuff. Interesting point about vitamin C is you can't really store it. So some people will suggest like, oh, you got to eat fruit throughout the day to keep topping up, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. Just make sure you're getting some fruit in there, also for those antioxidants you get with the fruit as well. Nice little bundle there. But I think the main utility in vitamin C supplements specifically is the fact that if you run high doses, it can reduce the amount of illness you get, or the duration of illness, which is pretty cool. Next up, BCAAs. I'm tempted to put that with apple cider vinegar, but I mean, it does something, I guess. The thing about BCAAs, right, branched chain amino acids, it's like, oh, these are the fundamental parts of protein, so it'll help you recover better. And there is some evidence to that, but the issue is, You know what also does that? Just regular protein, because it's a complete protein like whey protein. It has all the stuff that the BCAAs have. BCAAs are like, oh, we have leucine as well, which is the most potent amino acid for improving and stimulating muscle protein synthesis. But so does whey protein and any other meat, so it's kind of pointless. I mean, some people have it as just like something nice to sip on, but it's just, no, you're not getting too much out of it. Next up is mass gainer. I think mass gainers are a little bit stupid. I was honestly thinking I was going to put these in like C tier, but I'm going to put them in D tier after looking into them a bit more. Pretty much they're just protein and maltodextrin. So you could just buy protein and put maltodextrin in them and save yourself a lot of money. Alternatively, if you're actually trying to put on muscle, like why are you eating this? It's carbs and protein. Fat is way more calorically dense, okay? And something like a mass gainer, maltodextrin is just refined carbs, and then with protein, there's no micronutrients in there either. It's just like kind of empty stuff. But if you're purely going after the calories, again, go for fat, dude. Go for olive oil. It's liquid as well, or this is powder, but it eventually becomes liquid when you shake it up, right? Olive oil is liquid, easy to get. You have to put it with literally everything, way more calorically dense, also has micronutrients and antioxidant potential, so it's like, why go for the mass gainer, dude? You gotta Italy Max and eat your olive oil. Anyway, that's my list. If you have any questions or supplements you would like my comment on, just leave them down below and I'll get back to you. But let me know what you agree with or disagree with. Don't drink the AIDS juice. There's some more videos there. If you enjoyed this one, I will see you next time.